dark matter.
It was following them up. "How fast?" she said. "Slower than us," Reeves said. "We're pulling away." She looked at the sonar. She looked at the shape on the sonar. She had been thinking about the scale wrong. The submersible was a reference point, and she had been using it as a reference point, and the scale she had been operating with had been wrong. She recalculated. She recalculated twice. "James," she said. "I know," he said. "The size." "I know." "How long has it been down there?" she said. He did not answer. She watched the sonar. The shape below them was still moving upward, still slower than them, still pulling. At the current rate, they would reach the surface 11 hours after it did. 11 hours. She looked at the sonar. She thought about the survey data, about every dive to the Challenger Deep, about why nothing this size had ever been detected. She thought about the smoothness of its surface, about what she had seen when the scale had resolved. She thought about the fact that it had not been moving when they arrived, that it had only started moving after they arrived.
Story 5. The Good Neighbor. The welcome baskets started arriving on moving day. The first one came from the Hendersons at number 12, a genuine wicker basket with a bottle of wine and local honey and a handwritten note on cream cardstock that said, "Welcome to Sycamore Close. We are so happy you are here." The handwriting was beautiful. The exclamation point was not excessive. The second came from the Patels at number 8, an hour later. Wine, honey, the same cream cardstock. "Welcome to Sycamore Close. We are so happy you are here." Different handwriting, but the same words, exactly in the same order. By the end of moving day, there had been 7 baskets. All of them wine, honey, cream cardstock, the same sentence. Claire mentioned it to her husband David over takeout that night, surrounded by boxes. "It's a close, tight community. They probably agreed on what to give." "They used the exact same words," she said. "Someone probably sent a group text, what to write, what to include." This was reasonable. This was the explanation of a reasonable man encountering something slightly unusual. Claire accepted it. She met the neighbors in the following weeks. They were wonderful. This was the word she kept coming back to. Wonderful. Each of them warm, each of them interested, each of them remembering the details of previous conversations with an attentiveness that was flattering and slightly unusual. She mentioned once to Janet Henderson that she had been thinking about repainting the kitchen, and a week later Janet asked how the kitchen color decision was going, which was the kind of attentiveness that people aspired to but rarely achieved. She mentioned this to David. "Good memory," he said. She remembered the specific thing I said, not just the general topic, the specific thing. "Some people are like that," David said. This was also reasonable. She started paying attention. Not in a paranoid way. She was not a paranoid person. She was a graphic designer who had moved to a new city for her husband's job and was adjusting to a new neighborhood and was perhaps slightly on edge in the way of someone who had left all their friends behind and was starting from scratch at 34. She started paying attention. She noticed that she never saw anyone leave. This was hard to confirm. She was not watching the street constantly. She was working from home, but she was working. She was not surveilling the neighborhood. But she worked near the window, and she had a natural awareness of movement outside, and she noticed over the course of several weeks that she never saw anyone from Sycamore Close get in a car and drive away. She saw deliveries arrive. She saw the postman. She saw the garbage truck. She saw people walking between houses, visiting each other, the sociable traffic of a close-knit community. She did not see anyone leave. She mentioned this to David. "They probably leave while you're not watching. People go to work, go to the shops. You can't watch the street all day." "I'm near the window all day," she said. "You're working. You're not watching." This was reasonable. She accepted it. She started watching. She felt guilty about this. She felt the specific guilt of someone who was being paranoid about their wonderful neighbors who had brought them wine and honey and remembered everything they said. She felt the guilt and she watched anyway, because something was pulling at her that she could not name. She watched for 3 days. Nobody left. Not for work, not for shopping, not for any of the ordinary reasons people left their homes during the day. She saw them in their gardens, and she saw them walking between houses, and she saw them at their windows, sometimes at their windows, looking out at the close, at the quiet cul-de-sac with its 7 houses and its central garden and its new arrivals at number 14. But she did not see anyone leave. On the 4th day, she got in her car and drove to the grocery store. When she came back, she saw Janet Henderson standing at the entrance of the close. Janet waved. "Just getting back?" Janet said. "Just a quick shop," Claire said. Janet smiled. "We have everything delivered. It's so much easier. I'll send you the link." Claire looked at her. "You never have to leave," Janet said. Her smile did not change. "That's the beauty of it." Claire looked at her. "How long have you lived here?" "Oh, forever," she said with the lightness of someone using a figure of speech. "It feels like forever. We love it so much. You will too." She touched Claire's arm. "You already do, don't you?" Claire looked at her. She thought about the wine and the honey and the cream cardstock. "Welcome to Sycamore Close. We are so happy you are here." We. She had always read it as the neighbors welcoming her. She had been reading it wrong. Next time on Dark Matter. It was sitting in the drying rack the way it had been sitting in the drying rack every morning of Ellie's childhood. Her mother washed the cup immediately after breakfast, set it to dry. It was dry by lunch and back in the cupboard. This was the rhythm of her mother's mornings for 60 years. Ellie picked it up to put it in the box for the charity shop. She heard her mother say, "I love you, Ellie. Be good." Not a memory, not the internal echo of a familiar voice. A sound. External, present, coming from the cup. The last sound the cup had absorbed. The last thing her mother had said before she set the cup in the drying rack and went to sit in her chair and did not get up again. Ellie set the cup down very carefully. She stood in her mother's kitchen for a long time. She picked up a dish towel. She heard her mother singing, an old song, something Ellie did not know the name of, the specific wordless humming of someone doing ordinary tasks. She set the dish towel down. She stood in the kitchen with her hands at her sides, and she understood what had happened, and she did not know what to do with the understanding. She left the kitchen. She drove home. She did not touch anything in her car except the steering wheel and the gear shift, and she understood in the drive home that this was going to be a problem. Please like and subscribe.